The lobby fell silent the moment the shouting started. A dozen guests froze mid-step, phones lifting like antennas hungry for a scandal. A black woman in a plain white t-shirt and jeans stood calm. Arms folded, eyes steady. Security gripped her forearm, holding her in place. Across from her, the hotel manager, face red, veins visible, leaned forward and roared, "Leave! Now! Before I call the cops!" Gasps erupted. The woman didn't flinch, didn't raise her voice, didn't move. She simply whispered, barely loud enough for the crowd. "You really want to do this?" The manager jabbed a finger inches from her face. "I said, get out!" A guest's phone dinged. The live stream had just passed 2,000 viewers, and the world leaned closer because none of them knew. She owned the building they stood in hours earlier. No one in that lobby would have guessed who she really was. Maya Thompson arrived through the front doors quietly, dressed like any traveler, simple cap, worn jeans, black handbag. No entourage, no announcement, no clue that she was the majority shareholder of Thompson Regal Properties, which owned 12 luxury hotels, including the very one she walked into. Maya had built her empire differently from others. She'd grown up cleaning motel rooms with her mother, learning the smell of bleach long before the scent of imported candles. She'd watched managers talk down to staff, watched guests treat them like background noise, and promised herself she would build hotels where dignity came standard, but success made her cautious. She preferred to visit properties unannounced, blending in to see how guests and staff were truly treated when no one important was watching. This morning was supposed to be routine, a silent inspection, a quiet walkthrough, a chance to observe without interference. She checked in under her mother's maiden name, as she always did. But the moment she approached the front desk, she caught the first warning sign. The manager's eyes flashed with instant irritation. Not welcome. A subtle shift. A silent judgment. A storm beginning, and Maya felt it, deeply. As Maya waited at the counter, her phone buzzed, a message from her attorney. "Board meeting at 6 p.m. Investors want proof this hotel meets brand standards before approving the expansion deal. A $480 million merger hinged on today." She needed honesty. Real behavior, unfiltered conduct, and within seconds, the staff gave her exactly that. Just not the kind she expected. Maya stepped aside from the counter, giving the staff one last chance to correct themselves. But before she could speak, a soft voice called out from behind her. "Ma'am, are you okay?" A young bellboy, Carlos, barely 20, uniform slightly oversized, stood holding 2 luggage carts. His eyes were kind, worried, nothing like the cold stares coming from the front desk. He recognized her not as the owner but as a person, something everyone else seemed determined to ignore. I saw how they talked to you," he whispered. "If you need help finding a room, I can check the availability list. The system in the back works better than the lobby one. They just never let guests use it." Maya studied him for a moment, a pulse of humanity in a building drowning in arrogance. Before she could answer, an elderly woman nearby stumbled, her suitcase tipping. Maya instinctively reached out, catching her arm. "Thank you, dear," the woman breathed, steadying herself. 2 strangers, 1 act of kindness each, proof that not everyone in this hotel was rotten. And right as Maya turned back, the manager stormed out, eyes locked on her like she was an intruder. The manager, Harold Briggs, marched straight toward Maya, jaw tight, annoyance radiating off him like heat. "No, you cannot stand here," he snapped. "This lobby is for registered guests only." His emphasis wasn't accidental. Carlos flinched. Harold didn't see a customer, didn't see a woman exhausted from travel, didn't even see a human being, just someone he believed didn't belong. Maya's first instinct was to reveal herself, owner, founder, majority shareholder. One sentence would end this nonsense, but then she remembered the board meeting, the investor review, the need for truth. If this was how guests were treated, she needed to witness the full rot. So she stayed silent, and Harold leaned in closer, voice dropping, words far uglier than the last ones. Harold stepped behind the counter, tapping aggressively at the keyboard, loud enough for everyone to hear, performative as ever. "He didn't even check properly. System says no rooms," he declared. Maya watched his eyes, not the screen, and saw it instantly. He wasn't searching. He was deciding. The office door swung open. Lena Fairchild, front desk supervisor, the real power behind Harold's ego, stepped out with a clipboard pressed to her chest. Her eyes landed on Maya. Slow, assessing, cold. "Oh, it's her," Lena murmured, loud enough for guests to hear. Carlos stiffened. Lena smirked. "Let's make this quick. People like that always cause trouble." Maya's pulse hardened. The atmosphere in the lobby shifted the moment Lena stepped behind the counter. Her presence didn't soothe the tension. It sharpened it. Maya felt it like a blade grazing the surface of her skin. Guests nearby watched with quiet curiosity, sensing drama but not understanding the weight of what was unfolding. A few leaned subtly closer, pretending to check their phones while recording. Others whispered behind manicured hands, eyes flicking between Harold, Lena, and Maya with the same fascination people reserved for car crashes. Lena clicked her pen, once, twice before lifting her chin. "Name?" she asked, though her tone already declared the answer didn't matter. Maya kept her voice calm. "Williams. Maya Williams." A flicker, something like confusion, crossed Lena's face. The name meant something. It lived on paperwork she signed every morning, on updates she emailed nightly, but recognition didn't reach her expression. She swallowed it, burying instinct beneath prejudice. She turned to Harold. "Didn't I tell you?" she murmured. "These people try to use fake names all the time. Just say no so they stop wasting our time." Carlos stepped forward too fast, almost panicked. "Ma'am, sir, maybe the system glitched? Room 401 is clean, I checked it myself." Lena's head whipped around, eyes sharp. "Were you asked to speak?" Carlos froze. His courage evaporated under her stare. Harold snorted and rolled his eyes. "He's new. Still thinks compassion is part of the job." Lena refocused on Maya. Her smile was thin, tight, made of glass. "Ma'am," she said, in that venom-laced sweetness used by people who want to appear polite while demeaning you, "this establishment upholds very strict standards. We do not offer occupancy to anyone who cannot. How should I put it?" She paused, scanning Maya from head to toe. "Meet the profile of our expected clientele." A sharp heat hit Maya's chest. Anger, disbelief, something deeper. But she didn't let it rise. Not yet. Around her, the tension thickened. A businessman in a tailored charcoal suit cleared his throat loudly. "Manager, I'd prefer if guests who don't fit the brand weren't loitering near the elevators." His wife nodded, clutching her designer purse closer as if proximity to Maya was somehow a threat. Another guest, an older man with a resort visor, whispered to his wife, "She's probably trying to sneak in for the free breakfast." "Happens all the time." Maya inhaled slowly. "Let them speak. Let the camera see. Let the board see." She looked at Carlos, who was trembling, an employee watching injustice unfold but powerless under the hierarchy crushing him. "It's okay," she whispered to him, soft enough that only he could hear. "You tried." But Harold wasn't done. "Look," he sighed dramatically, "even if you somehow did have a reservation, which you don't, this is a luxury hotel, a 5-star establishment. We cannot just hand out rooms to anyone who walks in from the street." "From the street," Lena repeated with a practiced laugh. "Exactly." Maya felt every syllable land like a slap. And yet, she stayed composed. This was data, evidence, truth, the truth she needed. Is there a reason? Maya asked slowly. You're refusing to give me a room? Lena raised a brow. Do I really need to explain? The businessman who'd complained earlier chuckled loudly. Please don't. We all understand. Carlos's grip on his luggage cart turned white-knuckled. Maya lifted her gaze, calm, unshaken, and asked again, voice steady as steel. What is the reason? Lena leaned forward until her perfume, sharp and floral, filled the space. Because you don't belong here, she whispered. And I won't let you ruin the comfort of our paying guests. Silence. Thick, heavy, electrified. Maya didn't move. Didn't blink. Her phone buzzed again. Another message from her attorney. Reminder. Investors want evidence. Unfiltered. Real. Perfect. Because what happened next sealed the fate of everyone in that lobby. Harold waved a dismissive hand. Let's not waste any more time. Security will escort you out, Lena signaled the guard, and at that exact moment, before the guard could take a single step, Maya reached calmly into her purse. The staff tensed. The guests leaned in. Carlos's breath caught. Maya pulled out something small, thin, metallic, and placed it gently on the counter. Her VIP access card. The one issued only to ownership. The one engraved with a name they all should have known. Maya Williams. Majority owner, Lena blinked. Harold froze, and the entire lobby went dead silent. Harold's mouth opened, but no sound came out. His eyes darted between the VIP card, then back to Maya, then to Lena, searching for a lifeline that didn't exist. Lena snatched the card from the counter, examining it desperately, hoping, praying it was fake. But the engraving was unmistakable. The code, the security frequency, the etched crest of the parent corporation. Her throat tightened. This can't be right, she whispered, voice cracking. You can't be her. Maya stayed perfectly still. Not triumphant. Not angry, just waiting. Harold stumbled backward into the desk, knocking over a stack of brochures. Miss Williams, you should have told us you were arriving today. Maya cut him off gently. I wanted to see how my guests are treated when no one is watching. Gasps spread across the lobby. A shockwave. Carlos looked like someone had lifted a boulder off his back. Lena's face drained to chalk white. Maya, please, Ms. Williams, I didn't mean any disrespect. We were simply following protocol for individuals without confirmed reservations? Maya tilted her head. Is that why you assumed I had none? Lena swallowed, hard. The businessman who'd mocked her earlier began backing away, tugging his wife toward the elevator. The security guard froze, unsure whether to stand down or salute. And then, from behind the crowd, a voice thundered, What exactly happened here? All eyes turned. The regional director had arrived, and he didn't look amused. The crowd parted as James Caldwell, regional director of operations, strode into the lobby, silver tie slightly loosened, badge clipped to his belt, eyes sharp enough to cut through steel. He took one look at Maya, one look at the stunned staff, and his entire expression darkened. Someone explain, now. Harold jumped first, words tripping over themselves. Sir, Mr. Caldwell, this is a misunderstanding. She, Ms. Williams, arrived without verifying her reservation, and we were simply, stop. James didn't even raise his voice. He didn't need to. His attention moved to Lena. You're the supervisor on duty. Why wasn't Ms. Williams recognized? Lena's mouth trembled. I didn't know she was the owner. Her card. She gave her name, James snapped. Williams. Maya. The same name on every quarterly bulletin you sign. The same name on your paycheck endorsement. The same name on the framed portrait in the staff hallway you walk by every single morning, guests murmured. Several pulled out their phones again. James wasn't finished. You claimed there were no rooms available? Lena nodded weakly. The system showed. James grabbed the keyboard, typed a few quick commands, and the reservation list appeared. 8 vacant rooms. All clean, all ready. Gasps rippled again. Carlos lowered his head, guilt mixing with relief that the truth was out. James turned. Voice colder now. Professional, controlled, lethal. Ms. Williams, I sincerely apologize for this treatment. It is not reflective of our standards nor of the company culture Maya lifted a hand. James, please don't apologize yet. I want to hear from them. Her eyes locked onto Lena. Tell me, why did you turn me away? Lena's throat bobbed. I assumed. I thought. Maya stepped closer. Thought what? Lena's gaze flicked downward, at Maya's simple travel clothes, the natural curls escaping her bun, the affordable suitcase she carried. Then, without meaning to, she whispered the truth. You didn't look like you belonged in a luxury suite. A hush slammed across the lobby. Even the air conditioning seemed to pause. James's jaw tightened so hard the muscle twitched. Maya inhaled deeply. Thank you for your honesty. She turned to the watching guests, those who had whispered, mocked, judged. This, she said softly, is the experience too many people face. Not because of money, not because of reservations, but because of assumptions. Her voice didn't tremble. It resonated. Carlos spoke up suddenly, voice shaking but loud enough to carry. She was the only one who helped the elderly lady earlier. Everyone else ignored her. And they, he motioned to the staff, treated her like she wasn't human. I'm sorry, Miss Williams. I should have said something sooner. Maya placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. You did more than enough. James exhaled slowly, then turned to Harold and Lena, eyes cold as winter. You two. My office, now. But Maya's voice stopped him mid-step. No, James. She stepped forward, the lobby parting around her like she carried a gravitational field. We're not done here. Her tone shifted. Calm, decisive, commanding. I want this conversation to happen, publicly. The lobby erupted into hushed whispers, and the real reckoning began. The lobby fell into a heavy electric silence as Maya stepped forward. Her presence shifted, no longer the calm, patient traveler, but the woman who built this empire from the ground up. She drew in a slow breath, then spoke with a quiet power that made every person in the lobby lean in. Before we continue, she said, I want everyone here to understand who I am. Lena and Harold stiffened. Bracing for impact, Maya raised her wrist, revealing her access band, platinum, engraved, unmistakable. For 23 years, she began, I have worked in hospitality, from cleaning rooms to managing front desks, from night auditor to regional strategist. I earned every step, every promotion, every contract, not through favoritism, not through privilege, but through relentless work. Her words flowed steady, deliberate. When I built this hotel chain, I promised myself that staff would treat guests with dignity, regardless of appearance, background, or wealth. That this company would be a refuge, not another place where bias decides who deserves comfort. Her gaze swept across the lobby. And yet I walk into my own hotel, and I am denied a room because I didn't fit someone's idea of what a luxury guest looks like. Lena clutched the counter, eyes burning with humiliation. Harold stared at the floor. James watched, jaw clenched, pride and anger mixing behind his stern expression. Maya continued, For the record, I have personally overseen the training manuals you were supposed to follow. I have conducted workshops in this very building. I have spoken directly about profiling, bias, and guest treatment. Her tone sharpened, still calm, but edged with steel. So when you treated me like I was beneath the standards of this hotel, you didn't just insult me, you violated every principle this company stands for. A guest near the back whispered, "She owns all this?" Another replied, stunned, "She founded it." Maya's eyes returned to Lena. "You judged me before I spoke a single word. You assumed I didn't belong. That assumption, your assumption, nearly cost this entire hotel its future." Lena opened her mouth, desperate to salvage something, but Maya lifted a hand. "Don't apologize yet. I'm not finished." The rehook tightened like a wire, because what Maya said next would change everything. James's phone vibrated. Then another. Then another. He checked the screen, eyes widening. "Ma'am, someone is live streaming this." Half the lobby suddenly lifted their phones higher. Comment bubbles flashed. Hashtags exploded. Within minutes, thousands were watching. Maya didn't flinch. "Good," she said softly. "Transparency is healthy." Lena panicked. "Please, Ms. Williams, let's discuss this privately." "No," Maya replied. "This began publicly. It will be resolved publicly," James swallowed. "Ms. Williams." "What do you want to do?" Maya turned slowly, surveying the crowd, the cameras, the trembling staff. "This hotel's future depends on what happens next," she said. "So choose carefully." Her gaze locked onto Lena and Harold. "You have 60 seconds to tell the truth. All of it." The lobby froze. The countdown had begun. The silence after Maya's ultimatum was suffocating. A heavy, electric pause that made every phone lens tilt closer. Lena's throat bobbed. Harold wiped sweat from his upper lip, already imagining headlines that could end careers. But Maya wasn't finished. She stepped toward the concierge desk, heels clicking with controlled precision, a sound that didn't shout power. "It announced it, James," she said calmly. "Bring me the guest incident log." The room stiffened. Everyone knew what that meant. Not rumors, not opinions. Receipts. James hurried to the office, returned with a thick red binder, and placed it in front of Maya like evidence before a judge. Maya opened it. First page, second, third. Her expression tightened, not angry, but disappointed in the way only leaders who truly care can be. She placed her hand on the binder. "This hotel tracks every complaint," she said, raising her voice just enough for the live stream mics. "Pattern analysis matters in service industries. Patterns reveal truth." She turned the binder around so Lena and Harold could see the highlighted lines. Page after page. "Dozens of them, all flagged by either of you," she said. Harold swallowed. "That's normal procedure." "No," Maya cut him off gently. "It's targeted procedure." She tapped one page. "One black guest told to use the budget hotel across the street. Flip, a young Latina mother told she. Didn't look like she belonged in a 5-star lobby. Flip, a disabled veteran forced to show ID twice while other guests walked past without. Question. Flip a page so heavily highlighted that the ink almost bled. Maya paused. There, the livestream chat exploded. OMG. "Look at the file." Racial profiling confirmed. "Show them all." Maya looked up. "These aren't isolated incidents," she said quietly. Lena's voice cracked. We were following security protocols." Maya closed the binder. "No, protocols protect people. These pages show patterns that exclude them," the crowd murmured. The phones tilted closer. "And then," Maya continued, "your behavior toward me today matched those same patterns." Harold raised his hands defensively. "Ms. Williams, we didn't know who you were." "That's exactly the problem." Her voice was soft, almost mournful. "A guest shouldn't need wealth, status, or a nameplate to deserve dignity." James's jaw tightened. Dozens of guests nodded. Lena tried again. "We weren't discriminatory, just cautious." Maya turned another page. This one wasn't highlighted. It had a sticky note attached, a note she recognized. Her own handwriting. When I quietly tested service quality 2 months ago, I left feedback for management, she said, a specific warning that bias was influencing guest treatment. Lena and Harold froze. You ignored it. Maya closed the binder fully this time. And that, she said, is the most dangerous pattern of all when leadership chooses not to listen. The crowd murmured in agreement. Shaky voice rose from the back. An older bellhop who had worked at the hotel for 18 years. Ms. Williams. We've tried reporting them, he said, but HR always shut it down. Maya inhaled sharply. There it was. Systemic. Failure. Not too bad employees. A broken chain of accountability. She addressed the live stream directly now. This isn't just about being denied a room at my own hotel, she said. It's what would have happened to anyone who looked like me. If I wasn't the owner, gasps, rippled. Phones surged forward. Harold's. Knees trembled. Lena whispered something unintelligible as tears filled her eyes, and then Maya delivered the line that would go viral across the internet. Discrimination doesn't need a motive to be harmful. It only needs silence. She stepped back. Her verdict was coming, but not yet, because she wasn't finished revealing everything. Maya stepped forward, not angry, not trembling, but carrying the stillness of someone who has already made up her mind. She placed both hands on the concierge desk, as if anchoring the truth in place. Let's revisit something simple, she said. Her voice cut through the lobby like a clean blade. The oath you swore when you were hired. Lena blinked. Harold froze. Guests leaned in. Phones tilted closer. Maya recited it word for word, a vow every employee had spoken on their first day. I pledge to uphold fairness, hospitality, and respect to all guests without discrimination, judgment, or prejudice. Her tone didn't accuse. It exposed. Those words weren't decorations, Maya continued. They were promises. Promises you broke. Lena's voice quivered. Ms. Williams, we were doing our jobs. No, Maya said softly. You were doing what your biases told you was acceptable. Harold tried to interject. Look, people sneak in sometimes. We have to protect the property. Maya turned to him fully. There was a line of guests behind me. Only one person was questioned. Only one person was treated like a threat. Her voice sharpened. Me! A ripple of discomfort moved through the crowd. A woman in yoga clothes whispered, He didn't question us when we walked in. Two businessmen exchanged guilty looks. They had been waved through without a single glance. Maya stepped back, letting the silence convict them. There's a difference, she said quietly, between enforcing rules and weaponizing them. Lena crumbled a little at that, her shoulders dropping, her confidence leaking through trembling breath. James swallowed hard. He had never seen an owner lay down truth with such surgical calm. Maya clasped her hands in front of her, the stance of a leader addressing not employees, but a failing system. This hotel was built on 3 values, she said. Honor, equity, integrity. She scanned the room, staff, guests, cameras, everyone now part of this moment. You violated all 3. Harold felt the ground slipping under him. His lips parted as if to defend himself. But Maya raised a hand, a gesture that said, enough. The truth has spoken. Judgment comes next. The lobby felt like a courtroom now. And Maya stood as both witness and judge. She stepped aside, leaving the space in front of the concierge desk wide open. As if inviting someone else to stand there, someone guilty. Her eyes fixed on Lena first. Come forward, Maya said quietly. The command wasn't loud, but it carried weight that made the entire lobby inhale at once. Lena's heels clicked nervously as she stepped out from behind the counter. Harold followed reluctantly, sweat gathering near his collar. 2 employees, Once the gatekeepers of the hotel now stood exposed under every camera. Every whisper, every judgmental eye, the reversal was complete. Maya moved slowly, circling them the way truth circles denial, patient, sharp, inevitable. "Let's reconstruct what happened," she said. Her tone was clinical, almost gentle, which somehow felt even more devastating. "You saw a woman walk in, a woman alone, a woman carrying luggage, a woman who spoke politely, provided ID, and requested a room." Lena's throat bobbed as she swallowed. "And despite that," Maya continued, "you assumed she was here to steal, to cause trouble, to wander around, to cheat the hotel." She stepped in closer. "So tell me, what exactly made you believe that?" Lena opened her mouth, but no words came out. Harold tried to speak instead. We've had issues before. People try to sneak in." "Stop!" Maya's voice sliced like a clean blade. "You didn't screen the two businessmen who walked in before me." She pointed toward them, both now avoiding eye contact. "You didn't question the yoga group behind me." She gestured at the women in pastel leggings. "And you didn't question the elderly couple who arrived minutes later." Her gaze locked on the staff again. "You questioned only one person," Lena whispered. "Ms. Williams." "Please, it wasn't—" "Intent does not erase impact," Maya said. "And you made your impact very clear." She turned to the crowd. "Guests come to hotels seeking rest, safety, comfort. Not to be humiliated at the door because someone's prejudice fires faster than their professionalism." A heavy, shameful silence followed. Lena's eyes filled with tears. Harold's head dropped. Then Maya delivered the reversal fully, unmistakably. "You put me on trial the moment I walked through those doors." She stepped back, giving the lobby a clear view of the trembling employees. "Now it is your turn." Phones lifted higher. The live stream count spiked. Every viewer, every guest, every staff member waited because Maya Williams was about to decide their fate. The lobby doors slid open with a sharp mechanical sigh, and every head turned. General Manager Adrian Cole stepped inside, still in his tailored charcoal suit, still holding the laptop bag he hadn't even had time to put down. He had received one message from James. "You need to come, now." He walked into a wall of cameras, stiff staff members, stunned guests, and at the center, Maya Williams, standing like a storm, finally given shape. Adrian froze. "Ms. Williams," he breathed. "You're here?" Maya nodded once. Just in time. Lena and Harold looked like prisoners awaiting verdict. James stood off to the side, arms locked behind his back, chest tight with tension. Adrian's eyes darted between all of them. "What happened?" he asked, already fearing the answer, so Maya showed him. Not with anger, but with precision. She replayed every moment in quiet, devastating detail. The denial, the suspicion, the humiliation, the lies about policy, the disregard for training she personally wrote, the profiling they tried to mask as procedure, the disrespect shown not to a stranger, but to the founder of the very company paying them. The GM's face drained of color. When she finished, Maya folded her hands. "As general manager," she said delicately, "you are responsible for oversight." Adrian bowed his head. "Yes, ma'am. I accept that." He stepped toward Lena and Harold, his voice trembling with controlled fury. "Did you verify ID? No. Did you follow check-in protocol? No. Did you ask any other guests for credentials? No." His jaw tightened. "And did either of you think, for 1 second, that treating a guest this way reflects our standards?" Silence. Just trembling, Maya raised a hand gently, the power shifting back to her. "Mr. Cole," she said, "today's failure is not only theirs, it is ours." The lobby held its breath. "Because if two employees feel comfortable behaving this way," she continued, then the system surrounding them failed to enforce the culture we claim to stand for. Her tone was calm, measured, sharp. That is what must change. She turned to the staff, her voice deepening. The voice of the founder, the architect, the force behind everything around them. This hotel carries my name, my philosophy, my values. You don't just represent hospitality. You represent me. Lena's breath hitched. A tear slipped down her cheek. Harold's knees looked moments away from buckling. Maya looked at both of them. You judged me unworthy of a room in my own hotel, she said softly. And in doing that, you judged thousands of people who look like me. A ripple moved through the crowd. And because of that, Maya continued, I must give a judgment fitting for the harm caused, not just to me, but to the integrity of this brand. Lena's chest tightened. Harold's hands shook. Adrian stepped forward, ready to execute whatever sentence she declared. Maya inhaled. Slow. Steady, final, effective immediately, she said. Both of you are removed from your positions. A collective exhale swept the room. Lena burst into tears. Harold closed his eyes in defeat, but Maya wasn't finished. You will not be escorted out, she added. You will walk out with dignity, because we will not repeat the very disrespect that brought us here. Even in judgment, she upheld the values they failed to honor. Then she turned to Adrian. As for you, we will discuss your role in this later. Privately. Adrian nodded, accepting the weight of that promise. Maya looked across the lobby, at cameras, at guests, at staff, at the world watching. This is not the end, she said. This is the correction. A rehook pulsed through the silence, because the next step wasn't punishment. It was transformation. The lobby slowly exhaled as Lena and Harold stepped away from the desk, not escorted by security, not dragged out in shame, but leaving with a quiet, trembling dignity Maya insisted on preserving. But the real shockwave was only beginning, because as they walked out, dozens of employees stepped back, as if watching the collapse of an old system they'd secretly feared for years. Maya turned toward the remaining staff. All department heads, she said. Conference room in 10 minutes. Every manager stiffened. That tone, measured, restrained, devastating, meant entire careers were about to be audited. James approached her carefully. Miss Williams, do you want a moment before? No. Her voice was calm steel. Moments of harm don't wait. Neither should moments of correction. She walked through the lobby with the same quiet power she had entered with. But now, every employee moved aside, like water parting for a passing ship. In the glass-walled conference room, 30 staff leaders gathered, housekeeping, security, concierge, front desk, HR, operations, guest services, all of them pale, bracing, whispering nervously. Maya stepped inside. The room fell into a silence that felt almost ceremonial. She placed her phone on the table, the live stream standing at nearly 290,000 viewers. The world hadn't just watched an incident. They had witnessed a corporate reckoning. Maya let the silence stretch, not to intimidate, but to force clarity. When I built this hotel, she began softly, I dreamed of a place where every guest, every race, every background, every income felt seen, safe, respected. Her gaze swept across the room. Today, that dream was broken. Heads bowed. Chairs creaked. Someone quietly wiped a tear. Maya continued. Bias is not always loud. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it hides behind words like policy, safety, or procedure. But today, it shouted. She tapped the screen. The viral video replayed Lena's refusal, Harold's accusations, the humiliation, the reversal. The firing manager, Olivia, from HR, swallowed hard. Miss Williams, we can conduct a retraining series, update the manual. No, Maya interrupted. Bandages are not cures. She walked slowly to the center of the room, voice deepening, cadence tightening. This is not an HR issue. This is a cultural failure. A few managers shifted uncomfortably. It means we built something flawed, Maya said. And I refuse to let my name sit on a building that lets prejudice masquerade as professionalism. She turned to James. Pull every complaint filed in the last 2 years. James blinked. All of them? Yes. Her tone left no room for doubt. Every ignored warning. Every comment slipped into guest reviews. Every instance of profiling brushed off as misinterpretation. We uncover everything. She faced the room again. This hotel will not hide its rot. We will expose it. And rebuild from the foundation up. Operations Director Kim nervously raised a hand. What do you want us to do first? Maya answered without hesitation. 3 reforms. Effective tonight. Every pen in the room lifted. 1. Anonymous reporting. Guests and staff. 0 retaliation. 0 delay. 2. Live bias response audits. Trained observers will test staff interactions, and anyone who fails will be removed. 3. Comprehensive restructuring. Departments cooperating, not siloed. Everyone accountable. No loopholes. She paused, letting each word sink in. Failure. To follow these reforms is failure to remain employed. Wave of awe and fear rippled through the managers. This wasn't a reaction, it was a revolution. Then, Maya added something they didn't expect. Something that shifted the room from fear to stunned reflection. And, before anyone is judged, I will begin with myself. The managers looked up, startled. I allowed myself to step away from day-to-day operations, she said. I trusted this hotel to run without constant oversight. That trust was misplaced, because leadership must be present. She looked at each of them, slow, steady, truthful. So I am returning, full-time, starting today. A gasp spread through the room. The founder, the visionary, the highest authority, was coming back to take the reins herself. Change begins at the top, Maya said. And I intend to lead it, she lifted her phone. The live stream climbed past 320,000 viewers. They're watching, she whispered. And they deserve to see what accountability looks like. She straightened. This is only the start. The story didn't stay inside the hotel. Within minutes, the live stream shifted from a local curiosity to a national spectacle. Clips spread across Twitter like sparks leaping between dry branches. Black. Woman denied room at her own hotel. Founder humiliates biased staff on live stream. Corporate accountability. Live. By the time Maya walked out of the conference room, the video had topped 2 million views. The hotel's front entrance looked different now. A line of news vans, camera crews, microphones ready like weapons. James rushed toward her. Ms. Williams, CNN, BBC, and ABC are all requesting statements. Local news, too. And he swallowed. Your shareholders are calling an emergency meeting. Maya exhaled slowly. I expected this. She stepped outside. Camera flashes exploded. Questions fired at her from every angle. Is it true you were racially profiled? Are you firing the entire staff? Are more employees under investigation? Is the brand at risk of collapse? What message do you have for the hospitality industry? Maya raised a hand, calm, steady. My message, she said, her voice amplified by dozens of microphones, is that hospitality means nothing without humanity. The crowd went silent. This isn't just about a single hotel, she continued. This is about the standards we accept or refuse to accept in every place that claims to welcome people. Reporters scribbled furiously. But are you prepared for backlash? Someone shouted. Maya answered without blinking. If integrity causes backlash, let it come. The quote hit the internet instantly. Inside a penthouse boardroom in New York, the primary shareholders watched the broadcast live. Stock tickers flashed red. Market analysts debated the fallout. Legal teams scrambled to calculate exposure. But none of them expected what happened next. A prominent civil rights attorney posted, "This is the future of accountability. Maya Williams has my full support." Then a well-known travel influencer shared the clip, "Hotels should learn from her. This is leadership." Then a celebrity actor retweeted it to 15 million followers. "Protect Maya at all costs." Sentiment shifted. Investors leaned closer to the screen. This wasn't corporate collapse. It was brand evolution. Meanwhile, hotel competitors scrambled into crisis mode. Emails circulated. "Prepare statements in support of anti-discrimination. Update guest policy pages. Review training manuals immediately." Some chains even offered to collaborate with Maya on industry-wide reform. The hospitality sector wasn't just watching, it was reacting. And all the while, Maya stood outside her hotel entrance, giving measured answers, refusing to fan outrage, refusing to hide the truth. James stepped beside her. "Ma'am, the governor's office just called. They want to speak with you." She nodded. "Tell them I'll call back. When I'm done here." She turned back to the microphones. "One last thing," she said to the reporters. This incident wasn't a scandal. It was a spotlight. A murmur ran through the press crowd. "And now," Maya finished, "we fix everything the light has revealed." The rehook tightened, because while the world reacted, the deepest consequences were still waiting behind closed doors. Legal review, shareholder vote, and the final restructuring of Maya's empire. Night fell over the city, but the storm around Maya's hotel only intensified. By 8:45 p.m., the viral video had climbed to 11 million views, and the lobby, once a stage for humiliation, had become the epicenter of a national conversation. Inside the hotel's top-floor boardroom, tension felt like gravity. The shareholders, 12 of the most powerful people in the company, sat around the long glass table, the city skyline reflecting off their worried faces. The air buzzed with fear. Fear of scandal, fear of financial damage, fear of what Maya would do next. The chairperson, Victoria Hale, cleared her throat. "We have to discuss liability." Her voice trembled slightly. "2 wrongful denial claims, possible discrimination lawsuits, viral footage showing staff misconduct, potential class action litigation." Maya raised a hand. "Victoria." The room fell silent instantly. "This situation doesn't need damage control," she said. "It needs truth control." She placed her phone on the table and tapped it. The audio from the lobby incident filled the room. Lena's protests, Harold's accusations, the humiliation on full display. The board members listened in painful, shameful quiet. When the clip ended, Maya folded her hands. "Our brand was always built on equality," she said. "But today, the world saw something different." Head of Finance, Daniel Ross, rubbed his forehead. "The market is shaken. Our stock dropped 6 points in 1 hour. Investors want answers." "And they will get them," Maya replied. "But not the ones they expect." She stood. "I am not here to protect our image. I am here to protect our integrity." A ripple moved across the table. Then she dropped the first hammer. "We will not fight lawsuits. We will settle. Transparently, publicly, ethically." Several board members gasped. "Maya! That's millions!" Daniel sputtered. "Yes," she said. "And it's the cost of our mistakes." She paced the room slowly. "Second, all training manuals must be rewritten. By external bias experts, not by HR. Murmurs, anxiety, shock. Third, every GM across all 27 locations will undergo recertification. No exceptions." She paused. "Fourth, Any executive with prior discrimination complaints will be placed under immediate review. At that, two board members shifted uncomfortably because they knew Maya had just placed a target on their records. Victoria Hale leaned forward nervously. "Maya, are you trying to burn the company to the ground?" "No," Maya said softly. "I'm preventing it from ever being burned again." She turned to the window, looking out at the city lights. For years, we have ignored small cracks in the walls because the building still stood. But today, one crack became a fault line, and the world saw it. She faced them again. Now we rebuild. As silence settled, the door opened, and Maya's legal counsel entered. A thick binder landed on the table with a heavy thud. "We've gathered internal reports," the attorney said. "You should all see this." One by one, Maya opened the reports. The truth spilled out. A front desk clerk who admitted she didn't like checking in certain types of people. A security guard who repeatedly misjudged black guests as trespassers. Two managers who brushed off complaints as exaggerations. An HR director who coded profiling cases as guest dissatisfaction. The room turned pale. Victoria whispered, "This is worse than we realized." "No," Maya corrected. "This is exactly what happens when accountability is treated like an optional add-on." She took a seat again. "What happened to me in the lobby was not an isolated event. It was a symptom of an illness we refused to diagnose." Then she delivered the next blow. "And tomorrow morning, we make every one of these findings public." A collective gasp. Daniel nearly choked. "Public? Maya, are you trying to annihilate investor confidence?" "No," Maya repeated calmly. "I'm trying to earn it." She looked each board member in the eye. "If we hide this, we are complicit. If we reveal it, we are leaders." Silence. No one could argue. Then Maya added the final structural reform, and effective immediately. "I am creating a new division, the Office of Guest Equity and Ethical Hospitality." Several board members blinked. "What does that entail?" "Everything," Maya replied. "Real investigations, real authority, real consequences." She slid a folder across the table toward them. "And the new head of that office will be James," the boardroom erupted. "James, the security officer? He's not an executive. He has no corporate background. This is absurd." Maya lifted a hand, calm, unwavering. James saw injustice and responded with integrity. He protected a guest with respect, not bias. He followed the oath that others betrayed. Her voice deepened. He earned this. Meanwhile, downstairs, reporters continued blasting headlines. "Founder launches internal revolution. Hotel chain to expose its own bias failings. New model for hospitality ethics emerges." The world wasn't just watching, it was learning. Maya returned her focus to the board. "We stand at a crossroads," she said. "One path leads to polished statements, shallow apologies, and the same rot returning in a year." She pointed to the binder of reports. "The other path leads to transparency, humility, and repair, no matter the cost." She let the silence stretch. "Then, which path do you choose?" The board exchanged long, heavy looks. Finally, Victoria Hale stood. "I vote with Maya." One by one, every hand rose, unanimous. The reform would begin at dawn, but the rehook was clear. The public verdict had not been delivered yet, and the world was just beginning to demand its say. Dawn broke over the city like a soft verdict, spilling gold across the windows of Maya's hotel. The world was awake, waiting, watching. News anchors recapped the viral scandal. Editorials debated the future of hospitality. Industry leaders braced for what Maya Williams would do next. But inside Maya's private office, the air was still, quiet, final. She sat at her desk, hands folded, eyes steady, not angry, not exhausted, but resolute. James stood beside her, now wearing a crisp navy suit. his security badge replaced by a new one. Director, Office of Guest Equity and Ethical Hospitality, a title no one could have imagined 24 hours earlier. "Are you ready, ma'am?" he asked. Maya nodded. "Bring them in." Lena and Harold entered with slow, uncertain steps. No cameras, no audience, just truth. They weren't dressed in uniforms anymore, just ordinary clothes, stripped of authority, stripped of assumptions. Lena's eyes were swollen from crying. Harold's posture had collapsed into something smaller than the man he'd been behind the counter. They stood in front of Maya quietly. She looked at them for a long moment. "Yesterday," Maya began, "you lost your jobs." They both lowered their eyes. "But whether you lose your futures depends on what you choose next." Confusion flickered across their faces. Maya opened a folder. Inside were 2 documents. "Your behavior hurt people," she continued, "and it revealed a flaw in my company. But punishment without education is just cruelty." James stepped forward, placing 2 envelopes on the desk. "These," Maya said, "are acceptance letters." Lena blinked. "Acceptance? For what?" "For a 6-month mandatory training program," Maya explained, "run by external experts in bias, conflict management, hospitality ethics, and guest safety." Harold swallowed. "And after that?" "If you complete it," Maya said, "you will have the opportunity to reapply, not here, but at any partnering hotel that believes in second chances." Stunned silence filled the room. Lena broke first. "Ms. Williams, after what we did, why give us this chance?" Maya's eyes softened, not with sympathy, but with clarity. "Because the system failed you too," she said. "You were taught procedures, not principles. Rules, not respect." A deep breath. "I don't rebuild by throwing people away. I rebuild by teaching them how to do better." Tears streamed down Lena's cheeks. Harold nodded stiffly, voice barely a whisper. "Thank you." Maya raised a hand gently. "This is not forgiveness," she said. "This is responsibility." They nodded again. James escorted them out, not as enemies, not as prisoners, but as people beginning a different path. When the door closed, Maya leaned back. "Sometimes," she whispered, "justice is repair." The following week was chaos, but it was productive chaos. Maya publicly released the internal bias report. Most CEOs would have buried it. She published it on the company website. Some called her reckless, others called her brave. Shareholders braced for collapse. But something unexpected happened. Thousands of comments poured in. Finally, a company telling the truth. "I trust this hotel more now, not less." This is the leadership the industry needed. Bookings dipped for a day, then surged higher than before. By the end of the week, Maya's hotel wasn't infamous, it was iconic, a blueprint for accountability. 9 months later, the hotel lobby looked different, not in design, in atmosphere. New faces filled the front desk. Staff moved with pride, not fear. Guests felt welcome, not scrutinized. A small plaque near the entrance read, "Integrity is hospitality." Maya Williams and at the center of the lobby. James walked with a quiet authority, reviewing interactions, guiding staff, ensuring the culture stayed alive. He wasn't a guard anymore. He was a guardian, 1 year later. A large stage had been set inside the renovated ballroom, filled with reporters, partners, celebrities, lawmakers, and industry leaders from across the country. Maya stepped forward to applause, not celebrity applause, but respect applause. Behind her, a screen displayed the title, National Summit on Ethical Hospitality and Guest Equity. Her hotel wasn't just a location now, it was headquarters for a movement. She addressed the crowd. "A year ago," Maya said, "I was denied a room at my own hotel." A ripple of recognition traveled through the audience. That humiliation revealed the cracks in our industry, cracks hidden behind marble walls and scripted politeness. She paused. But today, I stand before you not as a victim of those cracks, but as someone committed to repairing them. She gestured toward a group seated near the front. Lena and Harold, dressed professionally, humbly, transformed, they had completed the 6-month training program, then volunteered for another 6 months. Now, they were certified advocates for bias-free hospitality. Lena's eyes shimmered with gratitude. Harold's posture had regained dignity, not arrogance. Maya continued. This movement was not built by perfection. It was built by accountability. She looked at James, by courage, then at the audience, and by people willing to confront discomfort to build something better. A standing ovation rose around her, but she raised a hand gently, the same gesture she used in the lobby a year ago. I don't want applause, Maya said softly. I want change. Silence fell, deep and reverent. This industry has the power to welcome the world, she said, but only if it learns to welcome every guest equally. She stepped back from the podium. And if my story taught you anything, let it be this. Her voice dropped into a slow, resonant cadence. Hospitality is not the building, not the brand, not the money. It is the heart with which we greet people. She nodded once. And that heart must never be closed. The crowd erupted, not in noise, but in purpose. In the final shot of the video, Maya walked through the lobby, the same path where she was once denied. Only now, every staff member greeted her warmly. A bellhop smiled. Good morning, Ms. Williams. Good morning, she replied. A guest waved excitedly. We saw you on the news. You're inspiring. She smiled, then stepped outside into the sunlight, the hotel sign gleaming behind her. Not a reminder of the past, but a promise for the future. If Maya's journey moved you, if you believe dignity should never depend on appearance, if you want more stories where justice rises, even when prejudice tries to push it down, subscribe, share this video, and let's keep shining light where the world needs it most, because sometimes one moment of truth can rebuild an entire system.